Joe Biden just humiliated every single American by giving $1 billion to Africa while falling asleep at the summit. This is one of the craziest things that you'll see this week.
With the U.S. in support of the development of the Lobito Corridor. Tanzania views the Lobito Corridor as an integral part of a broader strategy to enhance connectivity in Africa. We also appreciate the fact that the implementation of the project will provide important opportunities for Africa's development in sectors such as agriculture, renewable energy, digital transformation, trade and logistics along the corridor. Tanzania is already undertaking.
If you can't tell by now, Joe Biden is snoring, getting some Z's right now at the Anglo. I'm at a loss for words. I mean, truly, he's constantly been embarrassing the country over and over again. And he decides to give out $1 billion to Africa for, I'm guessing, disaster relief. Now, it makes it kind of strange because we still have people that are victims of Hurricane Helene here in America. But he flew himself all the way to Africa to try to provide some aid. First thing he did after giving away our hard-earned taxpayer dollars was to take himself a nap. Now, to me, I think this really reflects his entire presidency. He comes to look out for himself, look out for his reputation and not his own people. And when our needs aren't met, he goes to sleep and acts like it never happened. We just see it in real time. We see it in person here. And I think this is brilliant to show the American people right before Joe Biden go ahead and leaves office. It's good for people to see these people for who they are. I mean, this is a man that just now pardoned his son that was facing criminal conviction, that was rightfully convicted. The first thing he does, he pardons his son. He gives away $1 billion and then takes a nap. This is some legacy that he's leaving behind. You know, there's no way that I got to twist and turn this. It just is what it is. This is just the facts. There's no way a conservative can make it look worse than what it is. It's a complete embarrassment. It's humiliation. Look at the way the African leaders are looking at him. I mean, people are just sick and tired of Joe Biden.
In internal consultations aiming at aligning this project with national priorities and other bilateral and regional commitments. In closing, allow me to reiterate Tanzania's commitment to regional integration and shared prosperity. We note the progress made on the development of the Lobito Corridor and commend the visionary leadership that has brought this initiative to life. And it is through such partnerships and innovations that Africa's Agenda 2063 will be realized. I thank you.
Cruel, brutal, dehumanizing. Our nation's original sin, one that haunted America and cast.
So if you don't know by now, that entire segment of Joe Biden being asleep over there with these Africans, it's a lot longer than the clip that I added because I don't think my audience would stay around to watch Joe Biden snore for about 10, 12 minutes. So I saved himself the embarrassment and I've saved you guys the pain of having to watch the whole thing. But I will have to divert your attention to this next video. I want people to pay attention to this speech that Joe Biden has and look at the flaws in it. This was the speech he had before he took his nice little nap down there in Africa. This is a president that is on a mission to destroy his reputation. And I think Joe Biden, honestly, I think Joe Biden cared about his reputation when he was first forced out by Kamala Harris and Obama. And I feel like as time gone, he started to accept that it doesn't matter that much to him anymore. That having a reputation doesn't matter anymore. He feels as if him having the position as president is good enough for him. You know, people, their goals, their opinions, they change over time. And we are able to respond, react, and evolve depending on the environment that we have been put in. And I think the environment that Joe was put in, that environment being on the way out, is they're never going to dislike me more than Trump no matter what I do. Or he could at least say they're never going to talk about me as bad as Trump is no matter what I do. Him accepting this cold, harsh truth has put Joe Biden into the position and the mindset of doing what the hell he wants to do before he gets out of office. And honestly, I can see about 12 more pardons. Seriously. I see 12 more pardons coming, at least 12 more pardons coming, that is going to infuriate America. It's bigger than conservatives, because this isn't a man that's fighting for a reputation, nor is Trump. Trump isn't a man that's fighting for a re-election. Right now, we're witnessing a man fighting for himself. Of course, that $1 billion deal with Africa got something on the back end that comes back to him or possibly his son, Hunter Biden. Why else would he sign it right now? We have people that are suffering in America. Trust me, I added the clip. Currently suffering in America from disaster relief. Well, in need of disaster relief. He goes out and give $1 billion to Africa. I mean, enough is enough. Ukraine, Israel, Taiwan, Africa. I'm pulling all of your cards. And yes, Africa, a continent. I mean, all of Africa. Give us our money back. Enough is enough.
The long shadow ever since. From the bloody Civil War that nearly tore my nation apart, to the long battle with Jim Crow into the 1960s, for the civil rights and voting rights movement, which got me involved in public life, during which American cities were burned, to the still unfinished reckoning with racial injustice in my country today. Historians believe people from Angola accounted for a significant number of all enslaved people shipped to America. Today, millions of African Americans have roots in Angola. As I said at the U.S. African Leaders Summit that I held in Washington 2 years ago, our people lie at the heart of the deep and profound connection that forever binds Africa and the United States together. We remember the stolen men and women and children who were brought to our shores in chains, subjected to unimaginable cruelty. Here with us today are 3 Americans who are direct descendants of Anthony and Isabella, whose first enslaved Americans, Africans in America.
So, Chad, that's what I wanted you to hear. So he really went ahead and went up there to Africa to talk about slavery. I'm sorry. In 2024, I gives a rat's head. Sorry. Because my family is struggling to be able to afford rent. And he's talking about some bullshit. He goes all the way out to Africa to talk about slavery and talk about the ancestors. The hell with them ancestors, man. We got taxes to worry about. Tax season on the way. Nigga, Christmas on the way. And he talking about slavery and descendants. Americans aren't looking for this information. There's no group of Negroes that's lining up, that's watching this press release and like, oh my God, he's addressing the ancestors. That's just not reality. People are worried about getting the next job. They're worried about having gas to go to work. They're worried about having a safe haven for their children to live in. Negroes ain't worried about what came, what, when, and where, and how. Not by the President of the United States. If it had been a historian, it makes sense. We know where to divert our attention. And we're not expecting no president to do no bullshit like this. This is a waste of time. To give them $1 billion when you got African Americans that really need money is crazy. So are you telling me he gave this $1 billion because he's saying that African American DNA is linked there? Nigga, they sold us. Why the hell would why would we be rewarding people that made a sale, that made a transaction? These Negroes sold us. We weren't stolen from the land. Them niggas were sold. They sold them. So I'm trying to figure out, how do they get $1 billion? So now we're giving reparations to the slavers. It's a complete waste of time. That's why I said this has to have some type of back end deal for Joe Biden. It doesn't benefit blacks. Why the hell you go all the way to Africa to talk about Africans that were sent to America, sold to America? The identity politics that Democrats play, man, I am so glad that we are in an era to where we can put the magnifying glass on these people, because this is absolutely unacceptable. This is the type of BS that was pushed off in the 90s and the 2000s about rebuilding Africa, helping Africa. The Chinese got Africa now. We don't have to rebuild Africa. How many times do we have to see a kid with a large stomach, a large head, no food, saying that he just needs 25 cents to survive? Bro, it's not our job no more. We've been trying to help them for a century. It's not our job to help Africa. You can't push that narrative no more and make it feel as if we're doing the least racist thing possible by helping a country that doesn't benefit us in the damn slightest. Like, seriously, we get nothing from helping that place. Nor would they get something from helping us, which is why they don't. So he's going there wasting our money. It's absolutely disrespectful.
America. Wanda Tucker of Hamilton, Virginia. Wanda, are you there? There you are, Wanda. God love you. Her brother Vincent and Carolita as well. Thank you for being here. We're going to write history, not erase history. The Tuckers learned their family history around the dinner table. That history led Wanda here in Angola a few years ago. She did not speak the language, but that didn't matter. When she arrived, Wanda said she felt something profound, like she'd come home. That was her comment to me. She called it the connection without words. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm here today to honor that connection between our people and to pay tribute to the generations of Angolans and American families like the Tuckers who have served in government I've served in government over 50 years. I know I only look like I'm 40 years old, but I've been around hanging in the government for, I hate to admit it, for 50 years. But in that 50 years, I've learned a lot. Perhaps most importantly, I've learned that while history can be hidden, it cannot and should not be erased. It should be faced.
Coming from Democrats, that's fucking gold. Sorry. History cannot and will not be removed. It cannot be erased. That's crazy. They're literally the party of lies. It's literally the party that changes history as a whole. They're the ones that have a grip on the education system. They're the same ones that don't tell the truth about slavery. I'm wondering if Joe Biden would have the time during his speech to tell these Africans about the first slave owner in America, which was a Negro, Anthony Johnson. A Negro that had 3 indentured servants. 2 of them were white. 1 of them were black. He argued after the black indentured servant had ended his contract, was done with his contract, finished his obligation, he went up to the Supreme Court or the Congress. I don't know. It's one of the two. You can look it up. It was Democrat controlled, so does it really matter? Completely Democrat controlled. And he argued the fact that this black man, he claimed he owed a debt. He said the fact that this man owes a debt, he is still property to me. He is my slave. He should stay with me until the debt is done. They agreed and made him property, making him the first slave owner. You see, that type of history isn't taught in school. So it's kind of classic to me. It's golden to see a Democrat president say that we can't allow history to be erased when their party is the one with the eraser in hand. Because the narratives that they're spewing, it opposed to the truth, because the truth is damaging to those that tell lies. You see, they've built their entire party up on lies. So the truth is a weapon. You got to understand, that's why censorship is at an all-time high, because truth has been weaponized. Truth can only be weaponized when a lie becomes the standard. You see, people that are truth tellers have become antagonists in this current America. And that doesn't mean they're bad characters. You know, you got to look at the definitions. Antagonist simply means you're a person that goes against the status quo. You're the enemy of this system. And in 2024, it's not necessarily a bad thing to be an antagonist of a system that doesn't care about you. That doesn't mean burn cities. That doesn't mean start riots. That doesn't mean endanger the safety of anyone. But you can be an antagonist. You can antagonize it. You can criticize it. That's antagonizing. You can hold them accountable. That's antagonizing. You can bring up real history, just like the Anthony B. Johnson being the first slave owner. That's antagonizing. Break down their narratives, break down their lies, and watch reality shift.
It's our duty to face our history. The good, the bad, and the ugly. The whole truth. That's what great nations do. That's why I chose to speak here at the National Slavery Museum today, just as I toured.
Snow and biting cold. December delivery.
And so, chat, after watching him give that absolute word salad explaining why he gave $1 billion as he went down there, it's time for you to really see exactly how Americans are living after this hurricane. Now, this is a video that is displaying the damage Hurricane Helene has caused in America. Several months later, in addition to Maui, Hawaii, we have all of these natural disasters that hit the United States. And Biden had the ability to give these people $750. Why in the hell are Africans getting money that we have Americans in dire need of?
A different type of storm to hurricane-ravaged western North Carolina.
What do you need?
Just people to come check on us. I mean, what the
His home destroyed. Steve Crowell showed us the tent he lived in for weeks.
Is this your food in boxes?
Yeah, people drop stuff off that we already have, and most of it's expired food.
This is how hundreds of people are still living in western North Carolina, in campers and in tents amid bitterly cold temperatures.
Shauna Levine's family with 7 children has been staying in this shelter, a former Gold's Gym, for 2 months.
How do you think your kids are doing?
They're struggling, but they're managing it well. Definitely has affected them.
Dozens of people who lost their homes are staying here, but the lease is up. They have to be out by the end of the month.
We are refusing to let these.
This stuff really just sometimes it really just pisses me off because I find myself thinking I understand politics here and there and think I understand the grasp of the whole system of politics, and then I see stuff like this that kind of nullifies anything that I do believe about politics in the world as a whole. It's like there is a problem that's persistent in America, and a lot of our politicians are aware of it, and yet we still find ways to ignore them in attempt to aid other nations. I don't understand how I can be 30 years old and have the same questions of a child, because America doesn't have the answer. Why are we helping others when we need assistance? Why is it the same complaints that I seen adults had when I was a child? Why are we complaining, echoing the complaints of our ancestors? We need I'm so tired of hearing change. In my opinion, change is the most used word in politics. How is a word that represents a shifting of reality become the most used word in the industry? It's overused. Every year can't be changed. Every politician can't be changed, but we hear this in every single political spectrum, that this year is the year that brings change and this politician is the one that's going to help bring it. It is time for real change. It's time to stop talking about it. And I just cringe just saying that because I've heard it a trillion times, and there's a good chance that you, the viewer, have heard it more than me. But maybe let's just nullify the word change and make it something different. But we need a transition. I'm just so tired of this. We need a way that Americans, there needs to be a list. There needs to be a list. I don't know if they can do it online or something, but there needs to be a list for you to be able to put in, or an application to show who you voted for. You can put that in, and you can put in what you voted for, right? And in that application, you can click through a multiple choice of the policies you align with and the things that you don't align with, right? And then after 2 years, they'll show you a review of how that politician voted with your alignments. That's just an idea that I have that we really should start doing. That way people know what they're voting for. Because a lot of these career politicians really are lucky. They never brought the change that we voted for, and we forget about them, and they able to keep their career for 30, 40 years. That can be addressed by having a way to keep them accountable and keeping a track of their voting system. Now, I know it can be looked online as public knowledge, but the average American don't know how to access that data. So if there is a way it could be presented very easily, the same way I feel about the tax system, the same way I feel about the credit system, if there was ways for people to easily access it, we would see less discrepancies.
People be out in the street. We're gonna find a place for each and every person.
The need across western North Carolina is staggering.
Would you like a soup and sandwich?
Volunteers at this free food site in hard-hit Swannanoa are cooking 800 meals a week.
This is 100% people taking care of people.
Chris Smith has volunteered every day since the storm hit.
No conditions, no politics. It's just, there's hungry people, we need to feed them.
Relief centers with washing machines, Wi-Fi, and hot showers are a lifeline. Amid the daily struggles, there is progress.
Okay, Isaac.
Levine and her family will finally leave the shelter this week. Not a permanent home, but 2 camper vans to be shared by 9.
How has this experience changed your family?
I think it has made us closer. families have been torn apart, and we still have one another.
Here in Swannanoa, along the river, it's more like a campground than a neighborhood. The homes here, they are either gone or unlivable, left behind the debris and campers and tents people are now calling their homes. Nora.
Janet Shamlian, thank you for being.
And this is what Democrats have created. This right here is what Democrats have led to. This is what Joe Biden is ignoring. Man, I'm just so tired of having the same reports. I'm so tired of having this doom and gloom type reporting because, man, I'm ready for some positive reports. I love reporting on like the Trump dance and whatnot because this shit, this stuff, it's very depressing. That we have Americans that were living in a city now living in tents. Like, what the hell? And we give $1 billion to Africans. If you can't tell, I'm black. I'm an American. I'm not even an African-American Negro. I am an American Negro. Indigenous to this land. I don't give a damn what they got going on. Hell, my forehead don't look like theirs. You see, my forehead is too small. So this shit don't make sense. I don't resonate with these people. I resonate with those white folks that's in those tents. And I don't care if you don't like it. Those are Americans. We got more in common. This right here, the skin, don't mean anything. I got more in common with them folks in those tents than people in those huts. So bring them back. Take care of our people. We need to fund the Americans, hoping that Trump do the right thing and take care of these American citizens. Please like, comment, subscribe, and click the notification bell to stay updated. See you guys on the next one. Thank you.